Hello, everyone, and welcome to You've Retired, Now What? I'm here to help you navigate through these waters of deciding what's the rest of my life going to look like? What's my next phase going to look like? What have I not done that I wanted to do? I'm your host, Michael Kiffmeyer, and each week on this podcast, I give you tips and tricks, processes, and methodologies that can help you through your thought process. So we got a whole lot to talk about. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. This is Michael Kiffmeyer, and you have joined the Retired Now What podcast, where we explore the significant changes we all face once we retire, and even before you retire. We're going to dive into a topic today that many people find exciting, and they also fear it. They find it terrifying. Whether you're eagerly waiting and counting down the days until you retire, your emotions are going to go from left to right and up and down every which way you can imagine. In today's episode, we're going to explore the fear of retirement and make the new phase of your life a rewarding one. First and foremost, let's talk about the fear of retirement. You know, when you worked, you had structured routines, you had professional identity, and your social interactions centered around work, the prospect of retirement, and it can make us feel like stepping into the unknown now. Some of the common fears include financial insecurity. You might feel isolated, and these feelings are perfectly natural and quite common. So first and foremost, let's look at financial fears. Probably the most significant thing is people say, am I going to have enough money? Am I going to have enough money to carry me through the end of my life? The fear of running out of money can be paralyzing, and it's also rooted in a lack of understanding about the future, lack of detailed planning. Next, we got to look at loss of purpose. For years, you worked and you had a sense of purpose. You knew exactly who you were. You identified with the work that you did, and now that's gone. So this fear is closely identifying with who we are as a person. We're going to face social isolation. Or if I say you, I'm saying all of us. That is that we had friends and colleagues that we worked with on a day-to-day basis. Some became friends. We went to lunch with them. We went to dinner with them. And we might still do that, but it's not going to be the same. Why is that? Well, it's not going to be the same because they're working and you're not. And unless you have a sense of purpose, a reason to get up and get out every day, you're going to feel socially isolated. So let's look back again on the area about financial planning and how do we attack this? A well thought out financial plan is imperative, but I want to share with you, everybody thinks that you're going to spend less when you retire, and that might actually happen. But more than many financial planners are starting to understand, people just spend the same much as they always did. Once you start a habit, it's the hardest thing to do. You know, it takes 90 days to come about change. And it's something you need to work at if you want to stay permanently retired. If you want to live on a fixed income, you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to look at your finances not only on a weekly or a monthly basis, but you're going to have to do it on an annual basis as well. You need to sit down with your significant other and come up with a realistic plan. What is it we need now? I know one thing we don't need. We don't need all that stuff we accumulated for 30, 40, even 50 years. It's amazing how much that we accumulate. And, you know, back in the day, the Egyptians in their tombs, they used to take all the worldly possessions with them. We're not going to do that. So one of the first things I would implore you to do is let's start whittling that down. And if you haven't used it in 6 months, chances of you using it again outside of holiday decorations, you're not going to use it. So either donate it, sell it, or give it to somebody that might get some use out of it. You need to look at diversifying your income streams. This world is so chaotic right now and is so complex that if you believe you're just going to have a sole source of income in your retirement, that's not the way, that's not the smart way to look at your retirement. You need to divest in different things. People that are very I would say well off, if you will, and don't have too much financial worries. They're in real estate, they're in IRAs, they have their pension, they have Social Security. There's a lot of different areas. And I want to share with you, you need to think about that because you don't want to have people saying, well, what happened? Why don't you have any money? Well, I can tell you why you don't have any money today, possibly, is inflation has hit us like never before. Not since the Great Depression are we facing deficits like we are right now. I heard the other day that we are actually paying more money in the United States, we're paying more money on our interest than we have in our gross national product. That's a scary thought. And history has shown us that pardon me, countries that have done this in the past, they have failed. And we're certainly not going to fail here in the United States. I would ask you to really consider about consulting a financial advisor. Don't just think you're going to sit it and forget it, because when you sit it and forget it, you're going to have challenges that you hadn't planned on. You need to talk about tax strategies. How about long-term care, which is almost near impossible to afford if you haven't already done it before you're 65? You're not alone in this journey. There's many others in your same, I guess, camp. And remember, you have a lot of resources that are available to you. Make use of them. If you haven't done it already, you need to have an emergency fund. You need to have something that you can fall back on. Heaven forbid something should happen. A car breaks down, the water heater goes out, and heaven forbid there's a fire. What are you going to do? What are you going to have for your emergency fund so you can keep moving forward? You know, recently I read a survey from Prudential Financial, and they were saying there's a potential retirement crisis brewing among female retirees. It turns out female retirees have only served about 1/3 of the amount men have. Out of 905 Americans, adults between the ages of 55 and 75 has saved a median of $157. Women had only put aside $50,000. I don't know about you, but I can remember when I was back in high school, getting out of college, I thought $50,000 was all the money in the world. In California, that won't get you very far. The average house here is on the market now for $489,000 to $550,000, and it's making the American dream hard for young people to achieve. So the financial futures of women, it doesn't look real good unless they take it the bull by the horns and make a difference. It's a challenging time. And, you know, that survey found that many individuals, they're not prepared. At 55, most of them only had $47,950. Well, compared to what Prudential said you should have at that age to live a good a life is about $500,000. So that's a challenge. That is a challenge. And the only reason I bring it up is I want you to be aware of it, and I want you to realize that just because you've retired doesn't mean you're finished. It's a new phase, and you've got to deal with it as you've dealt with every other phase in your life. So we talked earlier about finding your purpose and identity. You've lost your identity because it was attached to your work and what you were all about. And retirement can be a wonderful time as long as you have a sense of purpose. You've probably heard me, or if you've not heard me, you've heard other people talk to how the Japanese approach it. They call it ikigai, and ikigai is a sense of purpose, a reason to pop up out of that bed each and every day. It doesn't just deal with work; it goes on through their entire life. There's a book by a man by the name of Daniel Buttress. And Daniel wrote a book on the blue zones. And what he found out is one of these people in these different areas of the country, or pardon me, different areas of the world, why they live into the 90s and to their hundreds. One of the things is they all had a sense of purpose, and they knew exactly, that they needed a reason to get up and get moving every day. So that all sounds well and good, Michael, but what can I do? I mean, I worked for all these years and I did what I needed to do, but right now I'm kind of stuck in my mind. I don't know what I want to do. Well, hey guys, real quick, if you've been struggling to answer the question, now what, after you've retired, I'd like to invite each and every one of you to my free Now What challenge that can help you reignite your spark, give yourself a sense of direction, try to decide exactly what it is you want to do in this next phase of your life. People are very smart and they get worn out. I know that. But eventually they know they got to do something more. And you need a purpose to get up and out of that bed each and every morning. I have tools, processes, and methodologies that I'm going to share with you in this challenge that I believe will help you clear your mind and decide exactly what you're going to do in this next phase of your life. I would suggest that you explore new interests. When you were kids, and when we were kids, we had visions, dreams, and we were always told those were silly. We couldn't do those. You had to go get a 9-to-5 job and work there forever, and that's what normal people do. Well, what's normal? I mean, you did all that. I know I did. I tried to fit everybody's mold. All the years that I worked in corporate America, it was a good time. But I did what others wanted me to do, not what I wanted to do. Well, now I'm engaging in different activities, and I know I have a sense of fulfillment and purpose, and I believe you can do the same thing. I'm a former teacher, and I'm still teaching, and I believe in lifelong learning. It expands your mind. It makes you sharp. Why can't you go to courses or go to a university? Maybe there's something you have an interest in. And you know what else? You can meet new people when you do this. And the other thing is that you might even find a whole new area of you never knew anything about. And it can excite you, and it can give you that drive that you're looking for. We all talk about what's our legacy in life. Well, why don't you start right now, right here, and start saying, you know what? He's right. I want a legacy for the rest of my life. What is that? You defined it. So, and if you don't want to do that, how about volunteering? You've worked 30, 40, 50 years, and you've got all this intellectual capital in your mind, and that's valuable to people. The self-education industry, what I'm doing right now, Forbes magazine here in the United States tells us it's going to be a $1 billion a year industry by the year 2025, and at least by the year 2026. People aren't going to school in the traditional ways. They can do a lot of this online, and which I find rather humorous because I was in the online learning industry. was one of the first companies to help introduce it. And I can remember back in the day, they looked at us like we had two heads. Well, look where it is now. Everybody's doing it, and it helps bring education to where people are, not where they have to be. How about mentoring somebody? You can mentor people the same way. You can mentor people, and they can help you have that sense of purpose that you look for, that you always thought that you had, but all of a sudden you retired and you're not feeling that confident in yourself right now. This is natural. I mean, this is as natural as all get out. That you feel a person has to have something to do. And that doesn't always mean a job. That means that as long as you're engaged and you're giving back to the, say, fellow workers, or maybe you can mentor a young person. I know I would have died for that when I was younger. I remember when I went to college and I had a job and I learned something I never knew anything about. Why can't you do the same thing? Throughout my life, I've had to change careers about 5 times. Not because I got fired from all those jobs. It was basically because I thought my interest changed, and I'll guarantee you right now, if you're in your 60s, 70s, even your 80s, things that used to be important to you, they're just not that important anymore. And isn't that amazing? How did that happen? Well, as we got older, we understood that the thing that's the most important is family relationships and experiences. And I want all of you to embrace that. I want you worked hard your entire life, and now is the time for you to say, what is it that I want? What did I always want to do? If you go to a hospice, and you talk to the nurses and even some of these people that are at the end of their lives, you know what the number one thing that they regret? They regret that they didn't go for what they wanted to do. They did what others told them to do. I told you earlier, I did that. This is what you had to do. And if I'd have had all these tools and processes that I have today, I'm starting to question if I'd have even gone to college, because there's so much out there at our fingertips. And you need to take advantage of that. You can do that. I didn't touch technology seriously until I was 38 years old. So here I am, and I learned it, and it became a career, and it's exciting. And one of the reasons it's exciting to me, number one, I like to inspire people, but more importantly, it's ever changing. I'm one of those people that get bored rather quickly, and I've worked on it over the years, but I want to share, I still get impatient sometimes. And I'm always looking for the next thing. There's nothing wrong with going on vacation, traveling the world, seeing things, and just feeling good about all that. But you know what? Sooner or later, you're going to get that tap on the shoulder. And that tap on the shoulder is saying, now what? I've done all this. I've done everything that was on my bucket list. Now what is it I'm going to do? This is what people think when they think retirement. They think beaches, they think little umbrella drinks, and just hanging out. A person can only hang out for so long. You need something that makes you motivated and gives you drive each and every day. Now, if you're stumbling or if you're stuck on what is that thing, I'd like to suggest something to you. I'm going to be holding a free challenge. It's a 5-day challenge. It's called the Now What Challenge. And in this challenge, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what the new retirement looks like. They call my age group the boomers. We're the bionic boomers because we've had shoulders replaced, we've had knees replaced, hips replaced, and we want to keep going. We're not ready to retire. We might like to might like to do something on our terms, but we completely retire. We got too much energy. And you know what? I bet you do too. Grandma Moses didn't pick up a paintbrush seriously until she's about 75 years old. Why can't you do that? Yeah, she was a great artist, but you could do that as well. No reason why you can't. And there's no reason why you got to worry about what others think now. So if you were married or had a significant other, you got your children up and out of that household by now, and there's nothing holding you back except those 8 inches between your two ears. It's your mind that's hurting you. In this free challenge, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through what is your why? Why do you want to do what you want to do? What's your values? What is your interest? And if you don't know those values and interests, I'm going to show you a methodology on how you can discover those. And the other thing that I'd like you all to keep in mind, you can work in an iterative process. That means if this doesn't work, let's try something else. If this doesn't work, let's try something else. Yeah, we did it when we were children, then all of a sudden we stopped because we had to have that serious job. I'm telling you right now, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You've paid your dues, and now it's time for you. So what is it that you want to do? I'm going to help you in the area of discovery of how do I package all that intellectual capital that I have obtained over the years. Do you know you're invaluable? And if you don't want to work, you might mentor somebody else, as I said earlier, or you can do something as package your knowledge, and you can do what I'm doing right now, if that's what you'd like to do. Many people just want to stay in the background. There's nothing wrong with that. I can show you several different ways that you might be able to move forward and get out of your the thing that's keeping you stuck in your mind right now. This life was meant to live, and I want to help you to live that kind of life you always dreamed of. So I like to help people turn their visions into a reality. I did it forever in corporations, global corporations around the world. And as I said earlier, I developed tools, processes, and methodologies that I can use in this challenge to help you as well. If you're interested in this challenge, which we're probably going to hold here in July, why don't you reach out on Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, LinkedIn, or you can also find me in other social media sites as well. Again, I want to thank you for listening. I hope you got some great information out of this podcast. We are going to be back again next Wednesday. Is the usual day that I release the podcast. And I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to know, what haven't I covered, or what would you like to know more about that you're not hearing? You know, financial planners, God love them. We all need them. But they think of it from one aspect, and that's just the finance part of it. There's a whole lot more to retirement. There's a whole lot more than life than just the financial part. It's important, but it's not the only thing. So one more time, I thank you for listening. And hey, if you have friends or colleagues, maybe even family members who are going through some of the same struggles you are after retirement, would you be so kind as to send a link to them for this podcast, mention it to them? And I'd also like you to invite them to this 5-day challenge. Keep listening. I will give you the dates. And I want to thank you very much. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye now. Hey, before we conclude this episode, I'd like each and every one of you to know that your thoughts, your dreams, and what you would like to get out of this podcast is valuable to me. My whole goal and my mission is to serve you like I have served others. For years, I had taught major corporations how to use learning as a competitive advantage. I want to do the same for you. So please leave your notes or reach out to me, and I want to gear this podcast towards your wants and needs and help you as much as I can. Again, this is Michael Kiffmeyer, and you've listened to You've Retired, Now What? I want to thank each and every one of you for listening.